Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
But Mr. Wargaming, Treasure Type B doesn't have platinum. You're not supposed to roll for...
Alright, funny guy. That means instead of rolling for platinum, I should have been rolling for gems. I got D8 gems coming to me. Kablam! 7 gems. How do you like them apples? Well, I like those apples just fine. I would love those apples, as a matter of fact, for a couple of different reasons. One, I got to give up the 2,000 gold, and I get 7 rolls on the gem chart. I will take that deal, my friend. I will take that deal every session of the week, twice on Saturdays and 3 times on Sundays. Look at this, 30% chance I'm nabbing a 500 gold piece. And this is just the base, by the way. It gets better from here. This is going to pay off big. I have a very good feeling about this. But more importantly is the fact that the gem table is a delightful little mini game in its own right. If you haven't experimented with this in a while, if you haven't rolled up some gems, it's a lot of fun. And the joy of solo AD&D is that you can pause the action. This video will go live somewhere around May 9th, 10th, whatever. It doesn't matter. You check the date. Look at your calendar. You're a big boy. And that means we got time, particularly when we're waiting for a big tower to go up. So we can engage in all of these little obscure bits and pieces of the rules that we don't really spend a whole lot of time with. So I'm going to go ahead and just roll 7 times, and I'm hoping for the 90s. I get a 9, I get a 43, I get a 94. So 9, 43, 94. Now, we can't get too excited about that just yet. I got a 78, I got a 16, let's see, 78, 16, 63, 78, 16, 63, and I've got one more shot for the big 5,000 whammy. Come on, no L47. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, for starters, our base value is 1720. We lost a little bit of coin on that one. All right, that's all right. Like I said, it's not done just yet. The next thing we have to do is roll a d10 for each of these stones and see what happens. So, for example, on a roll of a 1, it increases to the next level, and roll again, ignoring results above 8. If it's a 0, the stone decreases. Roll again, ignoring any result below 2. Stones below 10 pieces are 5, 1, silver, and 1. Okay, no stone may decrease beyond 5 places. So in other words, let's start with this tenor. I roll a 0, and I'll roll again on this table. So that tenor goes down to 5. And then I roll again. And I get a 6. And in this case, the base value shown is unchanged. And I think that's it. Let's see. It says increase or decrease. This showing rather the base value. I think that's it for that. So that one we lost 5 gold. All right, but that's okay because now we've stepped up to the 50 gold piece, the bigger slot, and we get a 4. Yeah, it's unchanged. So that stays at 50. And then the 1,000 gold piece. So here's where we're hoping for a low roll. We got a 1. And that means it increases to the next level, ignoring results above 8. We roll again in this case. So the 50 stayed at 50. And the 1,000 goes up to 5,000. Cha-ching. And we roll again. And if we get another 1, it keeps going up. Stone is double base value. Do not roll again. So that means we stop at the big 10K. Thank you for the correction, guys. I know some of you are just kind of fronting for your boys. It's very easy when you're not in the arena to sit there and pour through your books and pause the video and look for the mistakes. And then you feel like a big man, but you're not the man in the arena. So maybe cut the old host a little slack, huh? Sorry, I'm feeling a little salty these days. I don't know why. Hey, you know what? I have no reason to be salty. I'm sitting on 10,000 gold worth of gems. Now, I have another little mini game. Old Roger the Hammer Steiner is going to be taking these back to show off to his family of his own accord. So we can do a little bit of high-level adventuring with him. In the meantime, I have to check for the 500 gold piece coin. I get a 5. It's just straight 500. And then for the tenor, I get a 7. And that is going to be unchanged. That's just worth 10. And now for the hundo. The hundo, again, with the 6. Base value is just 100. And then I have one more stone worth 50. See, there's the 500, 10, 1. By the way, if you keep rolling 1s, this just keeps going up. 10. The next one is 25,000. Boy, we could have done great. And then we get a 3. The stone is 10 to 60% above the base value of 50. So we roll a 4, and it's actually 40% higher than that. So this stone is going to be worth 70. And like I said, instead of the 2,000 What am I sitting on here? I'm sitting on 10,685, 10,700 and let's see, it was 85, like 35 gold pieces, and kablam. Guess who's buying himself a whole lot more cavalry? Of course, bear in mind, that cost us 2,000, so we're really only up 8,735. LOL, like I said, every day of the week, twice on Saturdays, and 3 times on the Lord's holy day. What does this mean for our little battle plan? Well, remember, I already replaced my losses on the medium foot, and oh boy, the birds are really popping today. I love it. But I noticed something here. I actually have a little bit of a problem. Remember that we have a 5th level captain, and he can handle 100 heavy foot of his type. So he's a heavy foot guy. I have 1 lieutenant. So I can have 1 lieutenant for every level of the captain, right? And for every level of the lieutenant, I can have 10 guys. In other words, my captain can handle another 5 like squads, let's call them, right? Another 5 decades of foot. And then he has 1 lieutenant to handle the light foot. So I'm maxed out at light foot with this lieutenant, unless I get him to 3rd level, and then I can get 10 more light foot. Likewise with the archers, I don't have any crossbowmen yet, and I'm probably not gonna. Now with the medium horse, I have a 2nd level lieutenant. So if I want to, so I'm actually way more than maxed out. I need to get a 2nd lieutenant. So that's what we're going to do with some of our money. And our expenditures are going to look a little something like this. We're going to get 10 more medium horse and a lieutenant. Now that's going to, you know what? This is wrong though. Because the horse is going to be like 3,760. And I've got it written down right here. It's actually 3,500 a month plus another 80 gold pieces a month for the guys, and then it's 200 gold pieces a month for the lieutenant. So in other words, that's going to be 4,100 for the boys plus the lieutenant for 3 months. Plus I need, you know what? I got to equip him for 340. My math is a little bit off here. Okay, so let's just run it. It's 3,500, 3,840 plus 340 for the lieutenant. So that's actually going to be 3,840 to get them equipped. And then it's going to be 240 for the boys and 600. So that's going to be, I said 240, 440 for their pay. And that's going to take us up to 4,280 so forget the 6,200. Okay, 4,280 to get my horse boys. But I think I got this right for my heavy foot. Remember, my heavy foot are a little cheaper. They're 1,000 to equip and 40 gold a month. So that's 1,120 for each one of those heavy foot. That's 2,240. If I add the 2,240 to the 4,280, I get a total expenditure of 6,520, and I'm just going to call it 6,600 for bonuses and whatnot. So that is going to be my expenditures, and when I get back with all those fellas, that's going to give me 70 heavy foot and 40 medium horse. And now I think we're really starting to cook with gas, and that's gonna be tough. All right, I think we're really ready to handle some stuff. Now, as far as the gems are concerned, when I get them back, there's one other thing I want to show you guys what I did for the finances on that one. If I can find it, here we go. Just to show you, I'm not trying to cheat anything here. I said, okay, well that's 10. So first of all, I took 3,500 away. But then I said, you know what? When I turn these gems in, it's going to cost me 10%. The money changers, they charge fees. That's 9,600. So ultimately, what that's going to mean is after I spend my 6,600 beefing up my troops, I'm still going to be up 3,000. So I'll leave. I'll probably bring some of that back with me too. I think what we'll do is we'll do 2,000 at the castle, 5,500, and then we'll do 1,000 over there in Harrington. So we have, and maybe that 10% is what we're giving to the family. Maybe we give them another 10% of that. Maybe, why don't we do that? Why don't we say, hey, look, guys, I'm doing the work here. I'm going to be at, what was that, 4,500? 3,500? Let's call this, I think I might have cheated myself there. I'm going to do that 4,900 too. In fact, we'll call it 3,000. Say, look, here's a little bit. It's not quite a return on your investment, but we are bringing home the bacon, if you will. So now the question is, what about Roger Steiner? What about his little journey to cash in his chips, his big payola? Well, that's not payola, is it? Because it's not really pay to play. But he's got a lot of money. He's got to get back home. So let's go ahead and put him together with, we'll call it the 10 medium horse, He's riding with them. Maybe he brings. We're gonna leave the cleric back with old Captain. What do we call him? What's his name? We'll rustle some papers here. It's Captain Von Traps because he's so strong, right? This is like a bodybuilding thing. See, 5th level, and then maybe some of my lieutenants can bump up to 3rd level. We'll give it a little bit longer though, because it's going to be expensive. And that's the key here: is if you are tracking these guys as henchmen after a year and they become more experienced, then by having this lieutenant, these 2 lieutenants, by the way, at 3rd level, then I can get another 20 horse, right? By having this lieutenant, remember, I can have a total of 100 heavy foot. I could actually have 120 because this lieutenant adds to the command radius, if you will, of my big boy. So what does that mean? I actually have 20, 70, 80, 90. I have 130 out of 140. So with nothing else changes, I can still bring in another 30 heavy foot. And I think that's wrong. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I'm up to 150. That's right. Okay, so I'm at 150 guys. 150 guys, man. Notice we started with I think it was 60 to 70, maybe 80 guys. Now we're up to 150. See how we're organically growing our force as we go? But we have to go out and get the money to be able to pay for our guys, which gives us an incentive to keep adventuring. And that's kind of how our feedback loop works. Just to remind you how this works, our medium horse can move 20 miles per day through rugged terrain. Taking a look at our map, this is Castle Weasel, 4-mile hexes, 4, 8. We only have to go about 10 miles before we get around here into the grasslands, and we're going to be able to make it into civilization in a single day, which means we have to make, and again, I'll go ahead and roll. I'm going to ignore morning. We have a good breakfast, then we set out. After the morning checks are done, is that kind of cheating? I don't know. And then we'll check in the evening and the night. And then again, pre-dawn, except that by the end of the day at night, we're going to be into the plains, which you only check at midnight, but we'll be home by then. So I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and check, is there something in the morning? Is there something in the evening? And we'll call it a 1 in 10 in both chances. The tens place will be the morning. There's the 100 I was looking for. Oh, man, if I had one more gem. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Big thing is I didn't have any encounters. So we have a nice, safe, restful night here and in Corvusberg, and then we're going to roll on through. And again, because we're on a road, we are going to be moving really quick. This is the nice thing about having guys on horses, that they move so quickly. I can move 30 miles. So that's 4, 8, 12, 16, right? We're going to get to here in a single day. So I can roll. And again, is there in the morning? No. Is there? Oh, you know what? And then it's not 1 in 10 here because we're riding along a civilized road. It's 1 in 20 and we get nothing. And we get nothing. And we get nothing because it's inhabited, right? Am I doing that right? I'm sure I'll hear about in the comments if I'm not. And then we roll again and I get nothing. So no encounters and we make it back to town. And then we repeat the process. Coming home, I get nothing. I get nothing. Maybe we were rolling 1 in 12 on that one. That wouldn't surprise me. That might have been the case. It says moderate to sparse / patrolled, relatively dense 1 in 20. Maybe I should be rolling the 12-siders. We'll roll 12-siders on the way back. Nothing, and nothing. And this is actually not so great. So I did 4 checks because honestly, sometimes these encounters are good. So we leave Corvusberg after a day and we're bringing back all of our big boys with us. Maybe it takes a little bit longer and I need to roll because we got some boys on foot. Maybe we pay to have them dropped off on the boat. Doesn't really matter. I'm just rolling to see how many times I got to roll. See, there's no ones now. I didn't get any ones on the gems for the bumps. I mean, I rolled 7 times. I got a single one. That's pretty much on average. So there you go. There you have it. Just a little bit of light rolling hither and yon. We can roll 1 in 10 chance. Did anybody show up while we were gone? No. So kind of a brief one today. I don't have a lot of time. I got kids. I got rock stars that I'm trying to raise. I got some of the best dang musicians for their age, and one of them is 20. So that's really saying something. We're gonna go out. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna play some punk rock. We're gonna wow some crowds. We're gonna have a good time. So when you have a little 15, 20 minutes, yeah, play a turn or two. See what happens. Turn off the camera. Pause the action. Come back in a few days. This takes us up to, let's call it today. And in our next episode, we'll see what happened during the previous week. We can make some more checks. Maybe go explore the Reddit tomb with our boys, but that's dangerous. Don't want to do that. Thanks for watching, guys. I know we didn't have any combat this time, but we had some mini games. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for coming along. I'm praying for you.